Okay guys, this is my first go at making a fly tying video, so bear with me. What I'm tying up today is called the Bay Street Bunny. When the fly first came out, it was tied in pink and green, and a lot of people were calling it electric chicken. But I tie mine in a little bit different colors, and this is my take on it. A really good big fish fly, the biggest redfish I've taken so far. I've caught on this fly. What happens? I've already got the hook in the vise. It's a size 2 mustad big game C7OSD. I find size 2 is the best size for this fly. You can tie it a little bit smaller. I have tied it size 4 with bead chain eyes for trout. Never really went any bigger, but I'm sure you could if you wanted to. First thing we're going to do is we're going to tie in our eyes. I use aluminum sea eyes. They're lightweight. These are size medium. And I put in the adhesive 3D eyes into them. I just really like the way the eyes look. They're light. They allow the fly to ride with the hook down, which is important to the action of the fly. This is a piece of about 22 pound hard mono. You can go a little heavier if you need to, depending on how aggressive you like to pull it in. We're going to just drop the line in behind the hook, set this on top as straight as possible, and I'll show you why that's important here in a second. And bring your thread down about halfway of your hook bend. I want this green to be showing. It's a fish attracting color. Now we're going to tie in a little anti-fouling loop, and that's why it's so important to have this one straight up, because we're going to lay this on either side of the mono weed guard top. It doesn't need to be a really big loop, just enough to keep the bunny tail we're going to be installing from fouling back around the hook. Okay, now that we got that in, got some pink crystal flash. Crystal flash is about the only flash I use anymore. Every once in a while I might use some Flashaboo, but this is by far my favorite flash to use. Take 2 strands, doesn't take a lot of flash. Tie just a little bit in with a couple of twists, fold it over, and tie it down again. Make sure we got it nice and centered, and we do. Now we're ready for the bunny tail, why it's called the Bay Street Bunny. I've got natural colored zonker strips, off-white with olive bars, and the length I want is going to be about, let's say go twice the length of the hook shank. Don't worry about it if it's a little bit long, because you can always trim some off of it. It's better to be too long than to be too short, because you can never add to it, but you can always take away. Okay, just lay this right here on top of your flash and give it a couple of turns, or a couple of 4 turns. Okay, next we're going to build the body. The body is pearl Estes. I like this stuff a lot. So we're just going to tie it in. And bring our thread back up front because we're not going to need it back here for a while. I give it one little tie off. And hold it out of my way. It makes it a little bit easier for me to spin. Well, I'm not going to spin the vise, but for me to wrap the stuff. I like to use two hands so I don't spin it with the rotary vise. Just give it a turn and pull back and repeat. Okay, now that we've got our body in, we're just going to give it a couple of wraps to secure the nose in place. And trim. I'm about to tie in my weed guard, but before I do that, it's easier to go ahead. I take a pair of fingernail clippers. You can take a pair of nippers, whatever you want to use, and just kind of neaten up the nose here because it's easier to get this excess material out the way now than it will be after I tie in my weed guard. Okay, and all we're going to do is bring our weed guard up and tie it in. Give it a couple of loose wraps and then adjust the length and size we want. You don't want to go too tight. Just have it a little bit off of the hook point and tie it in. And we're just going to whip finish. Okay, that's almost it. The last thing I like to do is I like to give it a little crew cut. We got this flash sticking up here. It's a little bit wild. I want the profile to be more shrimp-like, so I want to kind of flatten the top out and then leave the bottom long, like maybe little legs or something like that. A pair of craft scissors are really handy in this. I can't find them in many fly shops, but just go by Walmart or the Eckerd's or whatever and pick up a pair of good craft scissors, and it makes making these long straight cuts so much easier. And all we're doing is trimming up the top, shortening this flash up. The very last thing we're going to do is we're going to secure this thread. I use just regular old super glue. Some people use Zap-A-Gap or whatever. This works just fine. I've never had any problems with this not holding. By the time the super glue fails, the rest of the fly is pretty well chewed up and shoots us anyway. So, and there you have it. That is my version of the Bay Street Bunny.